Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his longest running expert, almost 3 years now, the one and only Anna Kelly. Hi, Anna.
Hi. Can you believe it's actually been 3.5 years since we first started talking, Michael? It's been amazing.
It's amazing. And I can remember when both you and I were employed.
Yes.
No longer are. That's how long that's been. That's been a long time.
That's right.
Hey, well, I want to start episode number 1 today with something that just hit the news wires. I haven't read the article, but the headline is enough for you and I to talk. It's from a gentleman named Jaime Dimon. I consider him the best banker, really because he's just no nonsense. He's like, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. For example, Jaime Dimon, I think 9 months ago, basically said roughly we have $1 trillion in cash on our balance sheet, JP Morgan. And like, I'm cool with that, right? I'll lose it to inflation. I'm waiting.
Yes.
Just today, he changed his phrasing. He has said that there are storm clouds on the horizon. Just today, it actually shook me a little bit, so I'm still a little rattled. He says, those aren't storm clouds. That's an economic hurricane coming. Get ready now. So what does that mean? What does that mean to our audience? It's, economic hurricane from Jaime Dimon. He's not one to mince words. So what do you think?
I agree with him. And again, I love when we can talk about the show, all the great things going on, right? Because we can find greatness and create greatness even in the midst of bad hurricanes, right?
Yes.
And being from Texas, I've lived through hurricanes, right? But I'll say this, more and more, Michael, over the last year, and especially over the last couple of months, we've seen some really stalwarts of the economic community, people who run some of the largest financial institutions in the world saying, get ready. This is nothing like you've ever seen. This is going to be bad. Quit listening to the headlines that say this is transitory economic pain. Like this could be the worst thing they've seen in their lifetimes. And these are gentlemen in their 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening and I'm hedging and I'm being careful and saying, you know what, let's prepare for the worst. This has always served me well. Let's look at what's happening, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and just continue to be optimistic that I can take actions through whatever comes that are going to better me and put me in a better financial position than I was before. But it is scary that the types of things that I see coming. And it's even scarier when you hear someone like Jaime Dimon come in and go, okay, this is not just bad, it's really bad.
Yeah.
So what else did he have to say in that article? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So I've read it. It's one of those articles you got to read twice. And I actually like to read different data sources, right? So you can take the same quote and get other spins on it. But basically, Jaime Dimon is going to, he has a very strong, what he calls a fortress balance sheet, right? Because again, we just talked about him having all this cash. He says he's not going to be in a rush to deploy it. They're going to obviously, he's going to be not in a rush to deploy it, because that basically means he sees a long duration. They're going to slow hiring, which we're hearing left, right, and center, right, which is controlling operation costs.
Yes.
And he's just going to be a lot more conservative, which is, which is really interesting. Because again, I want to step back and remind people that you and I talked about an upcoming recession probably 4 or 5 months ago. We talked about what we were doing right then and there.
Yes.
So let's remind folks that we did, because again, you can see this stuff coming if you watch it and look for it. But we can also tell others how to prepare for what's going to be coming in events. I mean, what are a couple of things that you did to get ready for this?
Absolutely. And for those of you that haven't heard the previous shows, go back and listen on our playlist, because we've talked about this a lot over the last year, really since the pandemic, right? And so I've been kind of preparing since the pandemic going, okay, we saw signs of recession in 2019, and we actually were in a manufacturing recession. And so, the question has been, and none of us have gotten it exactly right. We couldn't see the coming pandemic. We couldn't see the war in Ukraine, all these things that have really created kind of a burst in our bubble of what seemed like a generally okay to slightly growing economy. But we started to prepare kind of, probably a little sooner than some people did. And sure, we missed out on a little bit of opportunity, but I feel really good about where we are today. And what we've been telling all of you really is to get out of variable debt, get into low fixed rate debt as long as you can possibly lock that debt. And that's what I've done. I've refinanced substantially, not quite all, but most of my properties into much longer terms of low rate debt. I have sold properties to get liquid. And, as much as I'm an accumulator, I've always been a net buyer. I've sold very, very little. I've started to sell properties that I said, you know what, which ones are going to weather a recession really well? Which ones might my tenants be hurt with the double whammy after the pandemic, that they're already struggling and they're going to continue to struggle? And which properties do I have so much equity in that I don't think it's sustainable and it's not going to keep getting worth more? And I'm going to sell those properties. So I have more liquidity, kind of to Jaime Dimon's point, than I've ever had in my 24 years of investing. That's tough to do during inflation. And some of my friends who are also very smart and, wealthy investors are like, what are you doing? It's being eaten away by inflation, right? But I'd rather it be eaten away by 6 to 8% inflation while buying me things that can, basically balance that out and have opportunity than be caught without any liquidity if there's a lot of economic pain ahead. So liquidity, refinancing, getting out of credit card debt. If you have credit card debt, get out of it now. It's 20%. It may go even higher. My son just got his first credit card yesterday, 24.5%.
Ouch.
But at least he's got a credit card. He can start building credit and those types of things, right? But too many people are using their credit cards again. And I have to tell you, Michael, I just saw the statistics. We've heard the headline. The American consumer's in great shape. We have more savings than we've ever had. Now their savings is dwindling and it's back to pre-pandemic levels, and credit card debt is suddenly skyrocketing. It's a huge mistake. If you can avoid it, cut your spending on discretionary stuff, quit charging it on your credit cards.
Yeah. So one of the things so kind of rinse and repeat, I've done the same thing, right? Get into 30-year debt. I refied, I created some dry powder because again, people can go back and look at our playlist. We're not just making this up. This was months ago. We were telling people to do this.
Yes.
But the other thing I really want people to realize, and this is where I think a lot of YouTube channels do their followers a disservice. A lot of people now are preaching crash and this, that, and the others. And all they're doing is creating fear, Anna.
Right.
I want to create awareness.
Yes.
I want to motivate. I want to incent people. Because again, why have we done all what we've done? Because you and I both know that sometime between today and the next 18 months, we're going to find that one situation that is a deal of the year, or maybe even deal of the decade, maybe even has terms, seller terms, and we're going to do that deal. I will likely be more active in the next 2 years than I was in the last 2 years. I don't like playing in an environment, as the All In podcast says, fueled by cocaine and Red Bull. That makes me nervous. I don't like that.
And hopium. That's my word.
Hopium. There you go. Hopium. I want to play an environment where everybody is preaching fear. All the headlines are negative because A, buyers run away. 2, sellers read headlines. And I can write an offer. I guarantee you this much, Anna. I will not write an offer at asking for the next 2 years. It ain't happening. It will not happen. So I am more excited about the next 2 years. You have to prepare so you can thrive. You and I have prepared. As we wrap up episode number 1, if the audience member has yet to prepare, what are 1 or 2 other things you might tell them to do?
Yeah. In addition to what we just talked about, you need to be thinking about where else can I find money, right? Not just your own money, but other people's money. You have to make sure you are credit worthy, or you have investors and partners lined up that are credit worthy. Because I can tell you what happens during a downturn, and we've talked about this in episodes before, is that deals become plentiful because people start to fear and panic, or they have to sell, right? So deals become plentiful, and the financing is what tightens and dries up. So if you're not already economically stable, you've maxed out your credit cards, you don't have liquidity, you're not going to get loans. So start talking to people now, network with other people, find other people's money, use what you know how to do, and marry that to create opportunities for other investors who can help you to get the loans that you need, or hard money, private money, once prices have come down.
Yeah. The last thing I will say is, we've heard for years about all the job openings, which again, I saw today, job openings are down. Again, I've been through this multiple times as an executive. First thing we do is we cut open recs, right? Because we don't want to lay anybody off. So we will cut open recs, which are just TBHs, no bodies. 2, we will eventually have to make layoffs. So again, if I was an employee today and that was my only source of income, the first thing I would tell you to do is get as close to revenue as you can.
Yes.
People that are close to revenue are the last to go. Second, I would evaluate which revenue, because some of you, I worked in software. There's often a team out working on the next exciting thing. I would not want to be on that team today.
Right.
I've been on the spreadsheet. I've looked at the spreadsheet saying that team's exciting, but we don't see revenue for 12 months. It's hard. It's tough. I want to do it. It's the future of the company, but nope, out of the boat, right? We are about surviving. So there's going to be some very painful choices. I would tell you to evaluate your career. I would definitely tell you to try to build a side hustle.
Yes.
It is a time, build top line, control expenses. You got to focus on discretionary income. I wish that was taught much earlier in life, discretionary income. Go ahead and 10X your discretionary income. And then finally, if you're on this channel, I want you to be excited about the next 2 years. I hate the channels that get hundreds of thousands of views preaching fear, because all they want you to do is roll up in a ball, lay on your couch and do nothing. That is not the thing to do. Get off your ass and go do the work.
Yeah.
Right? Go find a great deal.
And listen to my story. You know, I've shared it with Michael on the channel several times. I mean, we were living well below our means, thank God, when everything crashed at the end of 2008, early 2009. And it was when everybody was afraid and lending dried up and deals were plentiful and we were going in really to the Great Recession. That's when I said, I have to take control of my finances and do what other people aren't willing to do. And I really accelerated my real estate investing. And that's what created tremendous wealth over the next decade. And so we could be in this period, to your point, Michael, could be one of the greatest buying opportunities we have in our lifetime. But we have to start being greedy, thinking about money, getting ahead when people are fearful, and stop trying to jump in with fear of missing out when we're at the height of greed, which we've just passed and we're starting to come down from. So get in the game. Don't give up on real estate thinking the sky is falling when you hear these channels. This is the time for you to think about, how do I make wise, risk-adjusted decisions and continue to increase my income?
Awesome. Anna, where can people find you?
Great. You can find me on social media, Anna Kelly, REI Mom, my website, reimom.com, and here every week on Wednesdays and on our playlist.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.